The most bullish CEO in Bitcoin, Michael Saylor, is at it again by using his company MicroStrategy to scoop up more Bitcoin. But just how high will this recent stock split proposal shoot up Bitcoin's price? And how quickly will that change? Will we see another parabolic rise to Bitcoin here in the near future? And will we see a six-figure Bitcoin? Well, I will dive into all of that. But first, let's dive into this recent video posted here by a great guy who's got over Invest Answers, who's got over 500,000 YouTube subscribers. And just, I want to point out this chart, what he posted right here. So to break it all down, Bitcoin at the initial price of 95,000. So give or take, right? We're sitting here. If you're looking at the actual price right now, we're sitting at 99,000. So that's a little bit higher, but irregardless, if you're looking at this, you'll see the initial shares are at 330 million. The new total shares would get to 10.3 trillion. And the number of shares issued will be nearly 10 billion. So with that stock price and the theoretical funds raised of over $3.3 trillion, that would add hypothetical demand of $3.3 trillion all towards Bitcoin. Now, let's hear a little bit of what he has to say in here about this raise. It seems like I got a notification that the audio is not working, so I'm not sure if it was, but yes, Morgan, I am working on Christmas. I'm trying to get out this great news for you guys. So Merry Christmas to you guys and to the Bitcoiners in the chat. Appreciate you guys joining me. But irregardless, this $3.3 trillion would send Bitcoin absolutely skyrocketing. So this spoiler alert of only 15 million Bitcoin existing, we all know is very incorrect, right? There's 21 million in circulation, but there are some coins that are lost theoretically, some coins that are, locked up by Satoshi. So will those coins ever move? We are not sure. But to answer this question of will MicroStrategy issue 10 billion shares to buy 3 trillion worth of Bitcoin, the short answer is no. Right? So we're not going to necessarily see this all crank out here just right this second, where we're going to see, MicroStrategy purchase and issue these 10 billion shares immediately. They're not going to be issued tomorrow, right? But it is a very bullish sign. So let's get into a little bit of what my friend, British Hodl, friend of the program, what he said here. He broke it down very simply and really well. So in simple terms, MicroStrategy is asking for a $10 billion share expansion to build out a runway for future capital expansion to buy Bitcoin. Now, this is a very important point here. It's not going to be all issued all at once. And timing is absolutely everything when it comes to Bitcoin and to issuing shares, utilizing traditional financial tools to purchase Bitcoin. Now, why do I say that? Because Michael Saylor is going to be issuing these shares and trying to obtain these shares right now during a bull market when the momentum for MicroStrategy is very good, right? But he's still thinking there could be potentially some bear markets in the future. So how is he going to prepare for that? He's going to issue and try to get as many shares as possible right now to get them outstanding. Now, let's dive into a little bit more of what our buddy British Hodl is saying here. So it does not mean that they will dilute the shares by 10 billion as soon as they're approved. Don't be dumb. So exactly what I said, right? They have momentum right now and want the permission to avoid having to ask in a future potential bear market. So he assumes they won't need to ask again for quite some time. So stack up the Bitcoin, Saylor, and team. But like we said, This is all about timing, folks. All about timing, right? We want to see everything, or we want to see Saylor and MicroStrategy succeed, right? So they need to be able to purchase these Bitcoin or issue these shares, excuse me, at a good time for Bitcoin. And what's a better time than right now, right? I mean, we're sitting here in a bear market coming off of just the cuffs of joining or just the cuffs of hitting 100K and off the cuffs of MicroStrategy joining the NASDAQ 100. So now we're having all of these American investors investing into the QQQ and some of these other major indices and doing it in their retirement account. They hold MicroStrategy and don't even realize it. Many investors across the globe are now going to reap the benefits of MicroStrategy and of Bitcoin in turn and not even have any idea that they're holding it. Right. So they're going to be holding these QQQs. They're going to be holding all these different indices, the S&P 500, what have you, and not realize that a lot of these companies in the S&P 500 and now MicroStrategy in the QQQ hold Bitcoin, and they're essentially a Bitcoin proxy holding company, right? So, but let's dive into a few more things of what everybody's saying about this. What is, the breakdown here? So our friend Jeff, Puncher Jeff here, who's a great expert when it comes to MicroStrategy, said Jesse saw the increased share authorization coming a couple weeks ago. Share capacity is a figure that does not contemplate with stock splits. This move is foreshadowing more convertible debt, leverage, and likely another stock split. Very high likelihood this will pass, greater than 99%, in my opinion. And why is that the case? Why do many people think that this is an extremely high probability that this will pass? Well, it's simply because of the way that MicroStrategy is structured. Michael Saylor has a 46% vote on this. So if he's issuing this, he obviously wants this to be passed. He's got one yes, so that means he only needs 4% of shareholders. That's right, only 4% of shareholders to agree to this. And he's putting his own net worth on the line here as well, right? He's got a lot of shares outstanding, and splitting all these shares would simply dilute his shareholdings, right? So he's not only doing this because he believes in Bitcoin, but he's actually, putting his money where his mouth is, right? So let's dive into the Cosby letter here. This is a great thread that really breaks down all of what's going on here, and they've done a great job putting it in. And to be frank, they've got over 600,000 X followers here, so they are, a great analyst, and I definitely recommend their follow. But anyway, MicroStrategy just said that they want to authorize a share of the count of 10 billion. They currently have 330 million shares outstanding, meaning this could increase the share count by 3,000%. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means that it would be diluting the shares significantly, and it would be a part of MicroStrategy's 21-21 plan, which was announced in October earlier this year. So Michael Saylor has been hinting that this was going to happen, hinting that this was coming true here in the near future, right? But didn't quite announce this just yet. So this is all kind of moving quickly, right? We've had the NASDAQ 100 inclusion, and then now this in October. I mean, Q4 has been absolutely massive for MicroStrategy and for Bitcoin as well. So kind of perfect timing to see MicroStrategy line up and absolutely pump and really put its head down trying to buy more Bitcoin at a time where Bitcoin is pumping. But let's keep going into here as well. So the plan was to increase by $42 billion in 2027 and the finance of Bitcoin purchases. And this is all achieves this goal nearly. It has since now achieved that goal in nearly 3 weeks. That's right. I don't know if you guys heard me here. They were proposing to do this in 3 years. Then they did it in 3 weeks. I mean, can you underestimate Michael Saylor? I don't think so. This guy's moving at an all-time pace. So, but let's keep diving in here to what they're saying, right? So They're looking at their Bitcoin holdings, their basic share price of what they've been able to dilute, and their performance metrics have been absolutely insane. And they've seen a pretty good, decent return. I mean, 51%. That's nothing to scoff at here, folks, especially on a company's balance sheet when it normally would just be cash. So this bullish argument is that this proposal allows MicroStrategy the ability to issue more shares in the future, right? This is a very important line here, right? So MicroStrategy is not going to issue these shares as soon as this gets approved, folks. This is not going to happen. Simply 10 billion shares are not going to be just dumped onto the market and MicroStrategy's stock is going to be tanked. They're going to strategically issue these shares over a period of time in order to reach demand, in order to make sure that its share price is, kept at a healthy rate and everything's being evaluated correctly, right? That would be absolutely insane to just dump 10 billion shares on the market. They're not going to dilute it like that. But let's keep diving in because I think that was a very important point we had to hit. This proposal will allow 10 billion shares to be issued, but this does not mean 10 billion shares are coming at once, simply as I lined out. They can be issuance. They can be used. They can use these issuance, to buy Bitcoin, which they're currently doing, right? So currently, they're capped at 330 million shares with 225 million outstanding. This would be a 10-to-1 stock split, bringing the share cap to 3.3 billion. Now, why do they need this? Right? I don't know if you guys remember the Sailor flywheel that we have here, but it's why are they doing this? Why is the ability to do this? Because it's their entire business model. Borrow more money through $0 or 0% convertible notes, buy Bitcoin and drive the price higher, sell new shares at a premium and buy more Bitcoin, then repeat. And bears will say this is unsustainable, but the bearish argument is that these shares will objectively dilute to shareholders and is already levered Bitcoin play. MicroStrategy adding dilution for its ability to raise more debt. Bears say that this company itself is built on unsustainable debt. But it's interesting that they say this because MicroStrategy's core business model has actually been losing money in the past 4 years. But MicroStrategy has been the best performing stock in the past 4 years. It's raised its market cap from 1 billion to 100 billion. It's literally 100x in the past 4 years, its market cap. And, it's now looking at utilizing traditional financial tools to buy more Bitcoin. And as SV is saying in chat, he thinks it was mostly for stock splits. That is not the case as we lined out here, right? I mean, the full business model of MicroStrategy is to issue these stock splits and issue everything here to borrow more money and then buy more Bitcoin, right? So, excuse me, that it really just did not want me to show you guys that tweet. Here we go. To buy Bitcoin or to borrow through 0% convertible notes and buy Bitcoin and drive that price higher. Now, after this company has had, see, here's exactly what I was saying earlier. This company has a net negative income, losing about $340 million during Q3 of 2024. They also posted a negative cash flows from operating activities, and the business itself is declining. Bears argue that the wake of a Bitcoin downturn, MSTR cannot service this debt. Well, however, the bulls will say the recent run in MicroStrategy stock has nothing to do with this underlying business. The underlying business has effectively been linear decline for a decade now, and MicroStrategy is no longer a business. It is a levered proxy for Bitcoin. So as you can see here, linearly declining business, linearly declining business, linearly declining business. So everything that MicroStrategy has been, essentially standing for lately has been for Bitcoin. It's been that levered play of Bitcoin. And many Bitcoiners have been backing MicroStrategy simply because of that. And I think that that's going to continue. I don't think that that's going to slow down. We know that the bears are always going to be calling for MicroStrategy to break down because they don't really understand MicroStrategy and how it's this levered proxy play. But, these $10 billion or 10 billion shares going to be put out there is nothing new for any type of company, right? It's worth noting that many large companies have north of 10 billion shares outstanding. Apple has 15.2 shares outstanding. 15.2 billion, excuse me. Microsoft and Amazon have 7 and 10.5 billion. But these are fundamentally different companies, right? Of course. MSTR is going to use these outstanding shares to continue to buy Bitcoin, and that proposal would need to pass, right? So, like I said, this proposal more than likely will pass, and that's simply because of Michael Saylor's outstanding outstanding share count, right? So let's look at it here. We can even dive into it. This Twitter account has a great graphic here that shows why this will very likely pass, because Saylor himself holds 46.8% of that voting power. So he needs less than 4% of the shareholders to approve. So, I mean, with simply just one stroke of a pen and a few other shareholders getting bullish on MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor can have this vote passed very quickly and then start to issue the dilution of these shares. Now, I think that this is going to occur because, it's simply the way that Michael Saylor just operates. I mean, he's just the bull of all bulls. He just will continue to buy Bitcoin, issue more shares, and continue to do that. So, but there is not, everybody, it seems like, is now, I guess, hopping on the train, starting to understand Michael Saylor's plan here. I mean, even Michael Saylor is dunking on Barron's over here, saying that MicroStrategy wants the ability to issue enough shares to buy all the world's Bitcoin, and him simply saying that he gets his best ideas from Barron's. I mean, it's hilarious that we're seeing a billionaire at this point dunking on traditional media and dunking on what is going on here. But, this is not the first time that we've seen MicroStrategy split its stock, and it's happened fairly recently. Even happened in July of this year. So this isn't anything new for MicroStrategy investors. If you think that this, if you're new here and you think that this would potentially sway against MicroStrategy investors from simply, this stock split that we're seeing here. I mean, we've seen the stock absolutely rip and roar since July, to say the very least, and it's been one of the best performing stocks since that time as well. So, I mean, even look right here. I've got the stock chart up here. So in July, it issued the stock split around this time. We saw the initial dip, but then we've seen this run up here where the stock has gone from, let's see, about $225 to what is it sitting at today? Nearly $359. So looks like that is up at least 50% if my quick top of the mind math is correct here since that time. So since this stock split, it's already up 50% at the very least, potentially up more if my math is correct. And it's not going to scare away any of these potential MicroStrategy investors. And so, but many other news articles are now picking this up. Many other news articles are now looking at MicroStrategy. And no, it's not selling 10 billion shares to buy Bitcoin, right? So it's added again. So Jeff Park of Bitwise said that it's going to, it's unrealistic. The primarily Park sounds that it's absurd for a company to invest 3 trillion into an asset, yada, yada, yada. The bears just all are calling for MicroStrategy to potentially fall. They're calling for Michael Saylor's downfall. The haters, of which are many, are really just hoping that Michael Saylor cannot keep this up. But I think that this proposal will take place in early 2025, and we'll see. We'll see how much MicroStrategy is able to raise, and if they're able to split and split and raise a bunch of money in order to buy more Bitcoin. And one of the most powerful things I think in Bitcoin is not just buying MicroStrategy stock. It is, holding your Bitcoin in cold storage, where I think a lot of people just really take that for granted and really don't look on this Christmas day, this beautiful Christmas day. They don't really like understand the true power of being your own bank and kind of taking it by the reins. And so that's why I highly encourage people to hold your Bitcoin utilizing Stamp Seed. It's the number one punch plate in the game, where you can go and buy a titanium punch plate. It's not made out of paper. If you spill this water on it, it's not going to affect the titanium. You could stamp it all in. If your house was caught in a fire, and if your house was caught in a fire and you lost everything, would you want to lose your generational wealth as well? That's why I've partnered with Stamp Seed. You can use promo code Green Candle to get 15% off. I know it's past Christmas. Use some of that Christmas money to protect your sats and really grow it. And I agree with my man Ian here on Jesus's birthday. Jesus does love Bitcoin. He does love the hard money principles. It's uncorruptible money. And I think, like, at the end of the day, if you really hold those Christian values, I think, how could you not love Bitcoin with everything, right? I mean, it's just truly uncorruptible money. And, unfortunately, we've seen a lot of industries that have been corrupted by the fiat system. But I know one solution that can help you combat some of that. There's the health insurance industry that has been absolutely corrupt. We've seen a lot of crazy things. I don't want to get canceled here on YouTube, but we've seen a lot of crazy things that have happened recently in there. So I've partnered with Crowd Health, which will help you find awesome doctors. It'll help you negotiate your bills, fund those bills through a peer-to-peer funding platform, so everybody that can join can help you out, and help you find an easier way to find healthcare. So you can use promo code Green Candle for 3 months at $99. If you go to joincrowdhealth.com, you could sign up today, tell your friends to tell a friend, and really take control of your healthcare and everything that you've got going on, because now's the time to do it, right? Everybody looks at, hey, did I meet my deductible? Did I do this? Did I do that? You don't have to do that or worry necessarily about that if you are, a part of the Crowd Health team. I'm a Crowd Health member, so join me. I can help you out. You can help me out. We could all be family here on this beautiful Christmas day. But remember, folks, Bitcoin is pumping. Michael Saylor is the most bullish that he's ever been. He's issuing $1 billion worth of share, $10 billion worth, or 10 billion, excuse me, shares to go and scoop up more Bitcoin. So don't sell Michael Saylor your Bitcoin. Try as much as you can to hold on to it for as long as you can. And thank you guys all for joining me on this wonderful Christmas day. If you enjoyed it, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.